that time again. It's that time again, people, when we welcome you to another edition, another program, another vibes, another mission, another rendezvous. We welcome you to Connecting the Dots on DBS Radio. It surely is a pleasure to be with you again. That's how we say good morning, good morning, good morning. Lucas, we connecting the dots. We are ready for another connection. November 16. Yes, November 16. November 16 days, shall we? 14 days left. And then we welcome December. As I mentioned, 14, let me congratulate CTD Connecting the Dots for its 4th year as a Saturday radio vibes, because it was on the 14th of November in 2020 that we started. So we have turned 4. In fact, so let me call Nigel, because we took a toast and all now, so I feel in Awardee. I had too much to drink. So let me see if Nigel is up and about. Nigel, come a while. You two be sharing, man.
I just finished the last sip. Hold on there. Let me drink the last bit.
Yes, man.
I just drinking the last bit and then we're good to go.
Take a gorge.
What's up? Happy anniversary.
Yeah, man. How you doing, Nigel?
Hey, I'm good. Another wonderful Saturday as always to connect. So, always look forward to that. To share the vibes with you and everybody else. Yeah. So it's nice to connect once again.
Yes. I tell you, we have been doing this for 4 years. Nigel, by the way, I hope you send a drink for some of the people, like, Vado and Alvin Thomas and, Leoma Joseph, Shields Joe, Helen Henderson, people like that. Yes.
Vado already gave me my piece when I was at home. Tell me, we just forget sometimes to call her. So, Vado, good morning to you. Happy anniversary to you too, Vado. You're part of the CTD family, so good morning to you, and I'm glad that you are enjoying. I sent you the drink, so I hope you're having it right now.
Yes. Take a knock on
special delivery too. So
so many people, we can say good morning to.
So many people, man, that's been part of the journey.
Let's see if
we
can come up with some names, Nigel, like Kofi is always there, Leoma Joseph. We said Shields Joe, Sandra Norris. Come on, Nigel, Eddie John Baptist.
Yes, our producer that always leads them this there.
Talking about our producer, Nigel.
He always late now.
But he gave me his excuse. He gave me his excuse, so we'll have to look at
he gave you an excuse. Okay.
He told me, because remember last week was the first time we had the program after 2 weeks, because remember.
Right.
And the time changed. So that was the first program since the time changed. So he said that he woke up late.
So he woke up an hour later than normal.
I don't know what we can do about that, but that is something we have to look at.
Well, we'll give him a pass, because the time zone can be a little bit of an issue. I mean, I had to make sure I remember myself, to make sure I was an hour earlier than I normally would. So
all right.
We'll give him a pass today. We'll give him a pass.
Okay.
So so good morning to you, Alvin Thomas, and of course Liz, always locked on in Boston. Lisa White. Good morning to you, Terry and Maino.
A lot of people. Muriel Stewart. Eddie John Baptist, Norrin Joseph.
Lauren Vanis Roberts. Close by. Lauren, good morning to you.
Winnie Green.
She said, hold on, Norrin sent me what's up there? I cannot find connecting the dots. Oh, you're not live yet? Okay, all right. So
when she said that right now, or just
you're not saying we're live on the book yet. So
okay. I think we're live.
Let's see. Maybe let me see. Okay, we're good now. Yes, we are right.
Okay.
Yes, we're good now. Yes. So and of course Winnie Green and
Rosalind Severin McLean, Catherine, Janice, Leighton Armour. What happened, Nigel?
No. I just moved on to the book, and I see our producer was early. Yes, he said, "Bonjour, I am here."
Okay, all right. So
we
may revoke the detention.
We we haven't decided yet, But of course, Edwin in London, good morning to you as well.
Yes.
As we mentioned,
Joe Cam
is there. Jokam, yes. I can't forget Jokam. Good morning to you.
Chris Buguno as well.
Muriel Stewart, good morning. You know, all our CTD family members, good morning. Yes, Noreen says it's not an excuse for Alvin Thomas. It's reality.
Okay.
She's actually supporting him. She's saying it's not an excuse, it's reality. The time is confusing.
Yeah. And I would expect that. I would expect that.
Yes. No support for you. He's supposed to know better.
So okay. Anyway, we'll decide. But it's really a pleasure.
We'll decide what happens. But it's always good. Yes. It's always good to have everybody on board and connect.
On a Saturday.
All those who've been there for the 4 years, you know what I mean?
I tell you.
They've been connecting with us for 4 years. So we really appreciate that, man.
Because a Saturday at that time is not easy, for a lot of people, busy at that time on a Saturday.
Yes, busy. And then I met quite a few people who tell me what they actually do is that they're cleaning up the house and they have the program running in the background and listening. Some people have to stop midway while they're sweeping the floor because something of interest catch them. So, good morning to all those who always listen every Saturday. So, appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Definitely.
Hey, Dr. Dublin, good morning to you, my brother.
Maxime
and
Vigilance.
Everybody else, Maxime. And we have some
when you say Dr. Dobbs, you have to say Maxime Vigilant.
I know it. Yes. Two peas in a pod. We have to mention, some of the guests we've had. And if we start now, we won't finish. But good morning to all the guests we've had. Gordon Henderson,
Nigel, you understand there? The very first guest we had, though, the very first guest we had was Lauren Bannis Roberts, remember?
Very first, my dear friend, good morning to you, Lauren Bannis Roberts, very first guest.
And she has always been one who would send names for me of people, we can call. In fact, I called Lazo this morning because Lauren has been on my case to call Lazo. So I called Lazo again, so I got Lazo, so we'll have Lazo very, very soon. So
very soon, yes. And Lazo's been doing great things. Good morning to you, Lauren Bannis Roberts. We appreciate you as always, and all the others that always locked in. Sandra Norris, good morning to you. Hope we don't miss out anybody, but you know yourself. So if we miss you,
Alicia Griffith,
don't worry.
So many
Alicia
others,
Griffith, yes, always there. Yes.
And the list goes on.
The producer trying to get out of the detention.
Papa,
you're looking stunningly beautiful in your dress.
Yeah, we see.
You tried to butter stuff. Yes.
So now, Nigel, my voice is sounding a little clearer today, but Nigel, I had the flu. And I was down for a few days. I was down since Monday and I returned to work only yesterday, Nigel.
Yes, I missed you for a day or two, but I said
Nigel
maybe you just,
Yes. So, Nigel, I call a friend who calls himself a bush doctor. Hey, Nigel, he came to DBS. Nigel, he gave me a bag of over 11 different herbs. Nigel, Nigel, as soon as he handed me the bag, I started feeling better. I started feeling like I was on cloud nine. Seriously. Nigel, I started drifting. Nigel, the pungent, the smell of all the herbs together. Whoosh. Nigel, he called you one time.
He called it the power of the bush.
My goodness, Nigel.
The power of the bush, not bush mouth.
Tabak orange, girl, lemon, grass, just name it, I had it. So as soon as the bag open, Nigel, cold just go.
Everything clear up. That's beautiful.
Only in the Commonwealth.
Yeah, only in the Commonwealth you can get that kiosk. So good morning to that bush doctor. Hey, Pabe, good morning to you as well. The originals, Pabe and Alex Bruno, good morning to you guys.
Yeah.
Glenda Shillingford, good morning to you, and all the rest. But I'm happy that you're feeling better. I'm happy that the bush doctor was able to cure you that quick.
Yes, very, very quickly. Yes, and so I feel better. I'm not sure.
So you feel a little better now. Wonderful. Yes. Drink some water as well. Drink water.
By the way, Nigel, last week's program was big. So I went back to listen and view the comments and questions. Nigel, I was really pleased. We had a very good guest last week.
From what I heard, somebody told me there was, the guest was, pretty okay.
And then people are asking for a part 2 if that gets.
Because and many people are saying there's a part 2 because they haven't got the connection from then to now when, when he left, when that guest left and what's been going on
that's
since.
True.
So,
and how much involved the guest is in, in helping Dominica in everything, almost everything. So
yes,
so
So good morning to you, guests. It was a pleasure having you last week. We appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Yes. Nigel, anyway, we have our guest. By the way, quickly.
Oh, we have our own guest now again.
Quickly,
Right.
Nigel, the Dominica Corner.
You take up the pressure off me.
Yes, the Dominica Corner. Quickly, we have not had that for a while.
We haven't had that for a while. Yes.
My turn, man, to ask a question.
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
I wasn't ready. Let me see.
Go right ahead. You're not ready for that.
Nigel, name 5 former headmasters and 5 former headmistresses. I mean, that's easy.
5 former headmasters.
And don't just stick in Roseau, yeah? Spread it
No.
Okay.
5 former headmasters.
And 5
I will always say Brother Egbert Jumit, because I have to go with SMA first. So, yes, Brother Jumit, SMA. And then, of course, I have to go to the next place that I spent most of my time in the grammar school. So, good morning to you, Mr. Anthony Lockett. That's 2, right? You won 5 meal.
And in
third one, Ivona. Third meal, former principal. Oh, good morning to my dear friend who we taught at the grammar school together. Mr. Erickson Bertrand. Good morning to you, my brother.
Okay, so
yes, EB man, used to call him EB. Good morning to you as a principal of, was it I don't want to remember the name of the school that way, but it was a school in which the young lady Kanisha, yes. What is the name of that school up there now? The young lady who disappeared, and we had all the search for her and everything.
In Warner?
Yes, up that way. Yes. Right. So good morning to you, EB. That's number 3. You tell me not to stick in Roseau alone. Number 4, quickly.
You can get some help on the book, if you're not. I'm sure.
Well, hey, help me out, please. Help me. Charlo, who's telling me Charlo? Carl Kofi James is saying Charlo. Oh, you but Charles, of course, grammar school. Yes. Oh, yes. Long time. Yes. And of course, good morning. That's 5 meals already. 5 females. 4. Let's go to 4. I'm missing one more meal. Okay, coming back to the meal, but in the meantime, let's go to the females. We have Community High School, Miss Cecilia, Nicholas. Good morning to you. Of course, I can't forget Cuthbert Elwin of SMA. Thank you, Alvin. Alvin had helped me out there. Cuthbert Elwin, he like SMA.
But Nigel, Elvin from I thought you went to the Roseau Boys School as well, no?
I did go to the Roseau Boys School. So Froggy, back then it was Froggy. So good morning to you. So that's the 5 for the male. The 5 female, we have Celia Nicholas. We have Mrs. Levy. Hey, good morning to you, Ma Levy. So of course, can't forget her. So that's Convent. Then we had who else from Convent again? Who else from not Convent? Another Wesley High School. What is the name again? Did Sonia act as principal of Wesley High School at some point? I think she did. Yes. So good morning to you, Sonia Akpa. I already mentioned Mrs. Levy. Thank you, Priscilla. But I already mentioned Mrs. Levy. Help me out again.
So you can remember St. Martin's School, that famous
St. Martin's School. St. Martin's School. St. Martin's School. Don't tell me, because I know that's your former school. Help me out on the book, please, for St. Martin's School.
She wasn't the principal.
We say Froggy already. We said
Borgia, Sister Borgia.
Sister Borgia. Yes. Look, somebody tell me, Brain. After James. Good morning to you, Brain. I'm looking for another lady. Sister Josie. Winnie Green tell me Sister Josie Evan Paul. I'm not sure who that one is.
Mrs. Christian. She was at the St. Martin's.
But what about what's the name now? Majo. We used to call her Majo.
Majo is Celia Nicholas. No, there's another Majo.
Celia Nicholas. But to me there was another Majo.
Okay. So Adelina Daytouche, of course, we can go there.
What about who's telling me? Hold on. Norrin says Agatha Deloney.
Yes.
St. Martin's School.
St. Martin's School, yes.
Yes.
Any more?
All right, Leo, tell me. Nigel, I will help you in the countryside area.
All right.
Jennifer Wallace at St. Joseph Campus.
Nice.
Yes, former principal there. Good morning to you. Yes. Daytouche from Soufriere, who just got the award.
Yes, from Scottsdale.
With you, Nigel. Adina, yes. All right. So we I think we have that.
We okay.
We okay?
Yes.
All right.
Next
so
we
good morning to all the all the former principals.
Yes, all of the.
We
have so many
impacted one way or the other.
Once a teacher, always a teacher. Once an educator, always an educator. So
yes. And now the name is coming in. Miss Marks from Wesley High School. Thank you, Cicely Moyes. Somebody said the Minister of Education. I don't think she was a principal. Yes.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, man, my dear friend and student, Octavia, good morning to you. Yes, definitely so. Mrs. Lewis from the Goodwill Primary.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Princess Nastasti. Sister Borgina, we mentioned her, St. Martin's School. Thank you, Cecilia Dorset, for that. Now the names coming in, Mistress something from St. Villa Buetica. Did she go up for elections or something? What was the name from Vica's area there now? Vica's? Former principal, yes.
We're talking about my friend.
It's slipping us now. And then we also had Mrs. Greta Roberts from Grandport. Yes.
Venice Belloni?
Venice. Was it Venice? Yes, I think it's Venice Belloni.
But anyway, there's a lot. I mean,
but there's so many.
Yes, and it's always good to bring back those
things. Thank you for all those who assisted.
So I had a good question. You think I had a good question?
You had a very good question. I'm happy you came up with that.
We have to remember people like that who contributed immensely.
We do. We thank all our principals.
Sure. So
appreciate you guys.
So what we're gonna do now? We're gonna pray.
Yes.
And you have the prayer close. We're gonna pray, and then we're gonna just bring on the guest.
Definitely so. So Heavenly Father, creator of mankind and the universe, we thank thee for the gift of life today and all the blessings you continue to bestow on your children. We seek your presence and intervention throughout this program, and we ask that you keep us connected always. We also pray for the success of the program, its coordinators and listeners, that they may find purpose and enjoy what we share. Bless our radio station and the nation, and may we grow to love and unite with each other, irrespective of our differences. All this we ask in your name, now and forever. Amen. And amen.
Yes. Nigel, there are times when people will remind me after the program that we did not pray. Once or twice I would have missed it, and people would remind me. So I can remember going in at home once and mommy just tell me what right away, but you all did not pray. Anyway, we must always remember to pray.
Always
remember
to pray.
Yes, it's really a pleasure to have you on again, on Connecting the Dots, all our viewers, all our listeners. Time for our guest, Nigel. And you wanna go first? You want me to start first, and then you'll follow?
Well, I think I will give you the honor of introducing a lady to a lady. I'll give you that honor.
Okay, so it's time to welcome our guest. Nigel, there is a saying that to whom brain is given, sense is expected. And I really love this quote, seriously. And I will also say, to whom blessings are given, gratitude is expected. And so yeah, I'm bringing on my guest there. Sometimes when we parley, and there's the parable, Nigel, of the talents message, which is that we are to use whatever we have been given for God's purposes. So that's Cheryl Rolle. This really encapsulates who Cheryl Rolle is, who I know her to be. I mean, I know Cheryl a long time ago, a few years after I came to DBS Radio, so that was very long. And Cheryl always says she's simply giving back. She's always giving back, and she's involved in so much. She gives a lot, and it is really a pleasure to have Cheryl Rolle as our guest on Connecting the Dots. You're going to learn a lot, Nigel. We'll laugh. We'll have a good time. Your turn now.
Yes, well, of course. I mean, in terms of giving back and what she continues to do, whether it's in her own particular professional field or whether it's in sports, in culture as well, and always have a listening ear for those who would like to, listen. House is always open to welcome those who are looking for a space, so we really appreciate her for that. And I think we will have, like you said, a wonderful time with her, and learn about her journey and share with her and, connect with her. So, hey, good morning to you, Cheryl Rolle. They say they're not seeing her yet, so we'll see her in a little bit. But good morning to you. How are you? Oh, here she comes. Oh, hey, Belfam, Mikila. Good morning to you, my dear. How are you doing?
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, morning to you, Nigel, and to Ivona, and to our Dominicans here and overseas, and our friends from all over that are listening.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on, my dear. By the way, congratulations on receiving, a big award on Independence Day, National Award. Congratulations.
Thank you. You really don't plan for these things. It just happens, I guess.
Yeah, and that's good. Hey, look, I have two awards on there. What is that for me there today? Hey.
And he was sitting next to me.
Hey, but where I be there now?
Yes, we were sitting next to each other at the ceremony. So, from one to the other, congratulations.
Yes.
Again, much appreciated as well. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So, but today's your story. Today we're going to connect with you. We're going to find out a little bit more about Cheryl and everything that she's been doing and all the rest of it. So, because of course you listen to CTD as well. You listen to Connecting the Dots all the time.
Yes.
So, I want to like to know everything about people. She wants to know their whole story. So, today you're going to be sharing your story. So, for those who don't know Cheryl, first of all, what part of Dominica are you from?
I was born in Atkinson, and I grew up there until I was about 10. First of all, I just want to do a disclaimer. My sister-in-law called me, and she said, please clarify, because everybody's calling to congratulate her. And a lot of times people think it's her and it's not me. So technically, I am Cheryl Rolle. Okay. So my sister-in-law is also Cheryl Rolle.
Okay. Yes.
So thank God we're close. There have been some times when errors have been made in the lending institutions. They've never put her money into my account. They've taken my money and put it into hers. I said, but why is it that it's my money that going into yours? Why is not yours that coming into mine? So we have a good laugh.
I know, right?
So I grew up in Atkinson, one of 10 children. And my father died in a car accident when he was going to pick up his vehicle. So he was driven by somebody else, and the driver got into an accident, and my father died about 2 months later, leaving my mom pregnant with 10 children. I was number 6, so I was technically neither here nor there. I had a disabled sister that was 1 year ahead of me, and so I grew up in Atkinson, and when I was 10, in those days, people offered to take children, so, you start to separate them like fish, because it was difficult for her. She was a working from home mom. My father worked with the Ministry of Agriculture, and so I ended up living with the Trotters for about 3 years in Trafalgar, and then from there my mom moved to town and took all of us back under her roof.
So you went back to Atkinson?
No, I went back to Roseau, because by that time I was in St. Martin's School, so I do know about Sister Borgia. And the rulers she used to beat people with.
You got it? You got the ruler as well?
No, at school I was...
Skip that one.
At school you were what?
I was the smallest one and a good little girl.
What?
Well, to be honest, I was terrorized at school. No, I was terrorized at school back then. Back then, and even now you have some form of discrimination, so they would call me Bata Kwaib, Bisos, pull my hair. When I look around, nobody's owning up and stuff. And so I want to appeal to those that do bullying. It's not a nice thing. And so the only way I could compete and get over what was being done to me at school was to do well at school. So I ended up coming out first in common entrance in St. Martin's School and going into convent. And that is why when I, as you were saying, Ivona, earlier on about teachers, to be honest with you, the first text I sent out was to my former teacher, Miss Portia Edwards from Marigot. She lives in Canada now. That was my first text I sent out. I told her, thanks to her, I have accomplished certain things, and I will always be grateful for what she has done. So when I went to convent, I came across the same bullying situation, and she was the one that gave me extreme support and encouraged me. And so I decided the only way to compete against what was being done to me was to do well at school. So I end up doing that.
That's a story I want to revisit.
That is
Nigel.
already, the journey
We
has
have to
already
revisit
started, interestingly.
this, yeah.
But it is a
Because,
fact. It is a fact. And
yes,
just recently, I was enjoying a young Kalinago, and I was giving her a little synopsis, and she was telling me she was also bullied at school. So
yeah, and it's one of the things I think it's and I think it's one of our areas of our history we haven't explored as Dominicans, because we just figure we all look black, right? But there was a time when there was this kind of separation, if you want, or discrimination. At that time called the Caribs, and people viewed them a certain way. So
but
I can
Nigel, that hasn't stopped, because I went to the president's cocktail and I overheard a bartender say, "Look at how much quiet that inside there." So it has not stopped.
Wow.
And I corrected him. I says, "Do you know who our president is? You have no respect up to now?"
Yes. And there's something that we as a people, like I said, we sometimes, we don't look internally. We see the discrimination when it's white, black, but we don't see that discrimination within our own society and our own people. And what we have to do to overcome that. So I'm happy that you're mentioning that, because it's something that we can't sweep under the rug, to put it that way. So I'm happy you're mentioning that, so that we can understand the significance and the importance that our Kalinago brothers and sisters played for us and continue to play for us.
Exactly. And we actually utilize them in our advertising, in our tourism product, in bringing people to the Kalinago territory. That's part of the experience of their travels. And we are so blessed to have such a large quantity of indigenous people still remaining. So let us maximize and uplift them to the fullest.
That's a good way to start the discussion, Nigel.
It is, and I like the fact that Cheryl mentioned the bullying, and that she experienced it because of her race, because of where she was born, and who her people are. So we have to stop that, man. We have to find a way in which for us to coexist and to recognize the value of everybody.
To respect each other, and there's discriminations for the Kalinagos, there's discrimination for the Haitians, and that's another strong area for me, because if people knew the history of Haiti was the one that caused the freedom of the black man. And if it wasn't for the Haitian Revolution, and maybe black people would still be enslaved. And so we have to understand that it's not where you're from, it's where you're going, and try to uplift each other as much as possible. I always tell people, look at Guyana. I remember Guyana was discriminated. I remember landing in an island, I won't call its name, but when you landed there, you would see that they would put the Guyanese in a certain section. Right now, Guyana has oil. Their GDP is higher than any island in the Caribbean, and a lot of islands want to go down to Guyana and do business and partner. So you just never know, and that is why in the Bible it says the stone that the builder refuseth shall be the head cornerstone, because in life you just never know.
You never know.
Ivona, this is going to be a wonderful discussion. It's going to be a nice
Nigel,
connection.
I love this.
Yes.
I love
it's
this.
Going to be a wonderful connection.
I'm glad that Cheryl started this way. Let us put things in perspective. Let us look at this very important issue. And the beautiful thing about that is by studying that we can, when we continue the journey with our story, we can see that it's not, as you just mentioned, it's not where you're from. Because see what you've been able to accomplish, which we'll get to later on. Yeah, we'll get to that again later on, because obviously when Cheryl tells us, about her journey, I'm sure this will always come back, Nigel.
And I think my mom, I got to give her all the credit, because my mom taught us that education was your key out of your circumstances. She was a diehard educator. She also fought for the Kalinagos. She was a teacher in her young days up there.
What was your mom saying?
My mom was olive lander. And when the banana industry started to crumble, my mother always looked at opportunities rather than disadvantages. And so she went from producing bananas to opening a small guest house, and she had what you call Olive's Guest House. As a matter of fact, that's where I remember Felix Henderson always passing and stopping. And so everybody stopped at my mother's house, the police officers, the whole village. In fact, when my mom died, there were more young people than older people at her funeral, because everybody passed there. And people will tell you that you could come to my mother's house at 12 o'clock and she would take something out of the freezer and cook it for you. So she always entertained. People always passed. That was the stop. And so I think we have inherited that from her because we are just like that. You can, in fact, my friends call me Uber Eats because they can just pass and get something to eat. Mm-hmm. You know, so you learn from, you know, and my mom always taught us to take the good from her and drop the bad, you know. So she was deeply religious. All she had was her faith because she had 10 children to see about. And I hope she had somebody else in her life, but to be honest with you, nobody moved into the house.
10 children. Wow.
So she had to mind 10 children. But I'm so proud of her, and as a result of her pushing education for all of us, she has 1 son and 7 grandchildren that are doctors. Mm-hmm. So at some point, just before COVID, I was planning to do a health fair in her memory and bring all of the children and the grandchildren that are doctors into the Kalinago territory and other areas to do a health fair, but COVID came and that was sidelined. Mm-hmm. So at some point in the future, I'm planning to do so where they can do free medical checks in her memory.
Okay. All right, so let's just go back to the very early days. You mentioned 10 children. How was that though, Cheryl? Give us an idea. You had a very big house. You had how many rooms? You had about 9 rooms, 10 rooms?
No, 3 bedrooms. All the girls in one and all the boys in one and my mom in one. And well, of course, when my dad died and everybody ended up in her bed, it was just 3 bedrooms, a wooden house in Atkinson. And we went to school from there and stuff. So I always say if it had truck back then, I would have been in it because I was the messenger. I saw Billy one day sent to make all the message. Mm-hmm. And she would spit on the floor and tell me, don't make her spittle dry. And by that time, I have to fly up to the shop and fly back down. Mm-hmm. So it was good back then. You know, it was cricket and we played games and stuff. But I always want to highlight the future. I'm not one of those that will say, oh, back then those days were good. There was a lot of stuff back then that was not healthy. There was abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse and stuff. So I am not somebody that give back and look back. I prefer to look forward and give forward.
But then again, I mean, while the past should not be a place of residence, you will understand that it's a wonderful place of reference.
Excuse me?
Now I was saying that the past, of course, it should not be a place of residence, but it is a wonderful place of reference.
Yes, it is, and what you're supposed to do is to build on the negativity and try not to be a repeater of it in certain aspects. So there is a physical abuse and sexual abuse happening in villages, and people, that's something that's not spoken about as well. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the people that you trust the most are the ones that do the abuse. So I just want to highlight that as well. So it's something that we need to be aware of because it happens. And that's why I have a very weak spot for chances. One Christmas, we normally have a Christmas lunch with all the staff, and we decided to donate toys and food to chances to the children instead of having a Christmas dinner for ourselves. So I don't know, I have a passion for children. The other day my son said, Mom, who is this person? They answered your phone. You just keep picking up children. But I just like children. So every time I have another child in my house, and I encourage them to go somewhere. So one has graduated, so I try to encourage them as much as possible. Maybe because of my childhood, I have a weakness for children.
All right, so give us a sense of the community life. Of course, you mentioned you would go to the shop, mention some other people in your area. But what was the community life like in Atkinson, in the small wooden houses?
Well, my mom was strict, so you couldn't cross the border. She was very, very strict. So we went to church and we walked to school. If we pass under the mango tree and under the, what's the little yellow fruit again, Nigel?
Which one? Kukuli?
Boaden? No, not boaden. There's a little fruit. It's boaden?
Yellow fruit.
Like growing on a vine like or on the ground? Like
a big tree, and it has like, it was like a cherry.
Not a plum, no?
No, it's
boaden. No, not plum,
It's boaden. Boaden is...
The name isn't coming, but I'm pretty sure he will help us out on that.
Yeah, a yellow fruit. It was small like a cherry. Anyway, if you pass under the cherry tree or the mango tree, you better feel it fast because you have to reach home at a certain time.
And when you say feel it, what's that again?
Fly past. Right. So I was the fastest for the messenger, so they'd send me under the tree. So I'd pass under the tree, grab 3-4 mangoes, eat 2 before we reach home because In those days, our parents were petrified of worms. It's like I was telling someone the other day. Every summer, we had to be dewormed before we went back to school. I don't think that happens anymore. I don't think people still deworming. You deworming your child, Ivona?
Yes, I do that, but not the way that I would have received it back in the day. I mean, you have to go for the senna and all salt and all of that.
Right.
It's different now. You just drink a dose of, what's its name? I can't remember the name. And that's it. The worms will be crushed.
There's a bush
But
up to
back in the
now.
day, it was-
There's a bush up to now. I don't like the smell. Just the smell of it. What's it called, boy? One of them bushes. But I did just the smell.
Yeah.
So so we would have to go to church, of course. Like I made first communion in Salibia, so I walked from Atkinson to Salibia.
You walked from Atkinson to Salivia.
Yeah, at 8
Hold,
years, 7 years.
hold this a while. Let me just see if someone wants. Okay, that person left. That person has been calling for a while. Tell us about this. Walking from, and how long was that walk?
But I don't know. No, that depends on how much fat pork was in season. Because when the fat pork was in season, we would eat it and go along the way. So it depends on what fruit was in season.
Yeah.
The more the fruit is in season, the longer the walk because you're slowing down.
I like that.
But we didn't take the road that went to Salibia, the main road, because my mom was on the village council and she pushed. Back then, there was no main road heading to Salibia. So my mom was part of, she and W.S. Stevens and stuff, push for the paving of the road and the cutting of the road. So they cut the road to Salibia. But back then, to get to Salibia, you passed along the sea.
Stick up in there, Cheryl. I hope this person is calling to say something. Yeah? Let's just see. Hello? Connecting the dots?
Yes, the name of the fruit is Gwenbamau. English is Moe seed.
Noe seed, right?
No, he said.
Right.
Yeah,
And what is
Gwenbamawi.
what is the Creole name?
Gwenbamawi.
Gwen Bomawi?
Right.
Okay.
Gwen
Yes,
Bomawi.
yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
So I don't even see that tree anymore. But anyway, so we would walk from Atkinson. We would pass down. You know where the Jolly John, not Jolly.
Memorial.
You know where the Atkinson school used to be in the junction that says Bataka, and we would go down
Right.
by Mr. Arthur, all the way down there where they play cricket, and then that's the road that it used to be to go to Salibia. And you do your catechism or whatever they call it, and then come back.
And then walk back home?
Yes.
Yes,
As a matter of fact, my father had bought the first vehicle in Atkinson. It was the Queen's Jeep. The number was 558. I'll never forget. So when the Queen came to Dominica in 1966, after she was finished riding on the Jeep, Daddy bought it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he died the following year.
Nice.
Yeah.
See the amount of things we learned from that program?
Yes. The story is unfolding.
Yeah.
So-
in those
so-
days, you used to have to
so-
go to the river to wash your clothes. Remember, there was no pipe-borne water. So my mother would pile up the clothes, and then we would go down to Antrisle River or Concord River to do the washing.
What about washing your hair? That was not difficult for people like you, right?
No.
Like for me, that natty.
No,
Still wool.
she used hibiscus flowers and stuff
then-
and just shampoo the hair.
And they shampoo it and just
And
pass
yeah.
a comb in that, and that
Yeah.
would be okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Nigel, you see, boy?
And what I remember most growing up is having Busto because we played cricket. And in those days, there was a lot of gravel. It wasn't, the road was not, there was no asphalt. So we always had Bustos.
Mm-hmm.
Our toe was always bursting because we passing under the bush, we passing on gravel. So that's my toe was permanently busty back then.
Nice.
And it's without
I'm
shoes.
loving the journey. I'm loving the journey.
Without shoes, you're
Yeah.
running without shoes or pushing back then.
Mhm.
I can't remember if it had sneakers back then, but it was pushing and without shoes.
You would go to Roseau often at that time?
No, my mom used to take the truck. Back then it was a truck set that would take you down, so my mom would take the truck.
You remember the name of the truck driver? At least one of them?
I think Wilbur Rabes might have been one.
Okay.
And they would take the truck, and she would take the truck and go down and then come back up on the truck, the wooden trucks. But as a result of her leaving us in the morning, up to now I can't eat peanut butter. You know, the last time I ate peanut butter I was 9 because I found a jar of peanut butter in the fridge. In those days it was a kerosene fridge. And I went and I sat down and I ate the whole bottle of peanut butter and I got so sick. Up to this day I can't even stand the smell of peanut butter. So, you know, but the fishermen, I remember going down to the fishermen back then was in Atkinson. You would go down by the bay. And up to this day, I find it very strange, you know, the personality of the fishermen. They don't really talk. So even though if you go to Marigot, for example, and a fishing boat comes and you try to have a conversation with the fishermen, up to now they don't really talk.
Oh yeah, but I thought fishermen they like to talk. They will tell you everything about what happened in the area.
No, the fishermen don't really talk. So you ask it, sir, the dolphin for sale, sir. Sir, they're answering you. Sir, the dolphin for sale. How much dolphin you have? So they used to have the low. My mom had, daddy had invested in a fishing boat, so he had gotten a percentage of the fish was his. So we still have to walk down and go and get the fish and come back up.
Wow, nice! I love this.
Yes. And Cheryl is bringing back, those on the book. I was talking about the Bedford truck and all that back then. Yeah. So Cheryl, I know we have a lot to cover. With you. So Kalinago Territory, I'm guessing you went to preschool there. How was the preschool?
I went to primary. I don't think they had preschool back then. It's primary school, so you went kindergarten 1, and then my great grandmother, she was from Loda. She was a black little lady. There was only a little hole in her nose, I remember. She didn't even have a bridge. She came to work on the estate of the Rabeses because the Rabeses owned Atkinson pretty much. And so in those days, when they come to help on the farm, the owners help themselves kind of thing. So my grandmother was born, and then that's how, and my mom was her daughter, so she in Atkinson. And then my dad was from Laplane. So my dad is a Lander, and his mother was a Larond. So he came from Laplane on his horse, and I guess he fell in love with my mom, and the rest is history. So so we are from Pat Laplane, Pat Atkinson.
And a little bit of Loda, back far back there. So it's a whole combination. So,
and my grandfather's father was a Kalinago, and his mother was a Dorset from Marigot. So we are the real Creole.
Yes,
mixture.
Yes, the real mix.
So he was a Valmo, so all Valmos are Kalinagos.
Yes,
and
yes.
Then
So
his mother
mix.
was a Dorset from Marigot. But
so
in those days,
the
men could bring the women into the territory, but in those days, I'm not sure if that has changed now, but I don't think the women Kalinagos could bring the men into the village. I'm not sure. I might be wrong. I'm not an expert on that. But back then, I think it was easier for the Kalinago men to bring somebody in. So that's how my
yes. Dr. Lennox Honeychurch would certainly comment on that in a few. So Cheryl, so from the Kalinago territory, Atkinson, Saliby, and all, Bataka and all the rest of it. You then moved on to Roseau.
I moved on to Trafalgar at Lily Valley by Mr. and Mrs. Trotter and Auntie Celia Gabriel. She was a good support. I stayed there for about 3 years. I sat common entrance I was at St. Martin's School. I came out first in the school, and then I moved on to convent. And then my mom moved to Tong, and then I moved back with her.
You remember any of the songs or anything they used to do at St. Martin Primary? I wouldn't like that part of it. Because she went to St. Martin Primary, St. Martin Secondary.
All I know is that I broke my tooth at St. Martin Primary. Plain skip.
You broke your tooth?
It's still broken. Okay. Foot oil. It was up, the skip was up, and my foot got caught in the rope, and I fell on Budup. So I broke my tooth there. And so that's my memories. But I have Mrs. Deloney was my teacher at the time, and Mrs. Solomon. She used to live in Cork Street. Mrs. Solomon was my teacher at St. Martin's School. So they used to correct my test paper and give me the other children test paper to correct. After that.
By the way, Cecilia does said one Sunday if all your cousins, but I guess your cousins.
We must be. My grandmother was
you get a cousin. You see how we just connect people. We've been connecting families.
My great grandmother was a Dorset from America.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I think that is why also I'm so tolerant of races and cultures, because of the mix. You can't really. I mean, I always explain to people, human beings are like flowers. Would you only want to see a white flower in a garden? So it's like flowers. Not only that, none of us decides how we come out. Our parents get pregnant with us and we come out white, black, yellow, Chinese. I do not discriminate, and I teach my children, do not discriminate.
I like what you say about flowers. Nigel, you know that song back in the day? Friends are like flowers, beautiful flowers in the garden of life. Are you a
beautiful
daisy?
Flowers in the garden? Yeah.
Are you a dandelion? You can be what you are, I'll be what I am. We will be friends in the garden of life. You remember that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I remember that song.
Yes.
I remember that little
I
poem
just
thing.
so much I remember. I remember my preschool songs, Alice.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Wow, but I'm
I'll be
really.
our guest one day. She'll be our guest one day.
But
So
one of the
Cheryl, yes. So I
one,
mean,
so one of the things
go ahead.
is that also it's this the response. It's I don't know if it's the responsibility because of my dad's death fell on not just my mom but my big sister Sonia. She worked and she fed us. My big brother Chong, who passed away, 3 days I had to bury him before my congress, which was a very emotional time. And Wavell went on to overseas to New York by my auntie. So when she came back, she was working. She supported us. Anne was a flight attendant with Liat for 22 years. She fed us and supported us. So because the last 6 children, the first 4 children supported the last 6 children. And so that is why that family is too close. Even if we quarrel in a minute, next minute we're back together. Because we are very, very close. Too close.
I can well imagine. I mean, the 10 of you in that house together.
Yeah.
What the closeness that would have been developed over that
and
period.
my big brother got my father's job when my father passed. So he was the agricultural officer from Cassibus to Atkinson. He never had children, and his paycheck was my mother's own to take care of us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes, the family sticking together and helping each other. I'm sure there were probably lots of fights as well between all them kids in that house.
Not really,
who blaming who and who's saying is this and that. No, you never had that.
No, we never really had that. Everybody had responsibilities, and I don't remember having any fights with any of my brothers and sisters. Yeah? The only thing sometimes that used to disappear from your plate is your meat, so you tend to eat it first. Because my mother was a stickler. She had to set the table. No, if you don't have a shirt, you can't sit on the table. You can't go on the table with a cap on your head. She was very, very strict in that department. And so she had rules and knife and fork, and you have to pray before you eat, and she was strict. I got a video from the Kalinago, somebody from the Kalinago territory recently of my mom fighting for the rights of the Kalinagos to have at least some form of title or something, and I'm seeing her serving food in the video.
Wow.
So that video is priceless to me.
I can imagine.
Wow.
Nigel, what is the book saying? What is the book saying?
Man, listen, one of the things, of course, Cheryl, is you can always go back and view the comments because there's a lot of stuff going on the book, Those who are talking about the real life situation, thanks for sharing your story. Oh, Alvin Thomas is saying I for long do it. I haven't heard that for a while.
You for long what?
And Cheryl said she for long do it.
Budup.
She was
okay, yeah, that's what I would haven't heard for a very long time.
I haven't heard for that for a while. Either James is saying we probably might be related. You're getting lots of cousins, See the problem you put yourself in, your family grown out.
That's okay. I like people. I'm a people person.
Martin Edwards. So, I almost missed that program. How could I do that? Good morning to you, panel. Good morning to my former work colleague. Let's see. Hermine LeBlanc, Cheryl, you're the real woman of the soul. God's grace is unto you. Good morning to you. Oh, Liz, good morning. She wants to congratulate the Meritorious Service Awardees. I was talking about Bedford Truck. I love to hear the then and now. They were talking about the other fruit that we just mentioned. Good morning to my dear lady of song, Ophelia Marie. Good morning to you, my dear. I'm loving this conversation. So there's a lot going on there on the book, as always, so we'll keep going back and check it out in a little bit as well. But nice connection. So Cheryl, in terms of the journey, we started in the Kalinago territory.
Yeah. So then I went to convent. I went to St. Martin's School in Tong, and then I went to convent.
By the way, you said Mother Borgia, Sister Borgia was your principal back then?
Of St. Martin's School.
How was she as a principal?
She was strict. She used to hit you with a ruler and make you open your hand and beat you with the ruler. And the ruler wasn't flat, it was on the edge.
And what was the uniform then? The same one?
The same blue and white uniform. And then Silma Green was our principal after that.
Okay.
Mrs. Green. And then Mrs. Deloney.
So you sat the common entrance back then? That's what it was?
I came out 13th from the island, so for me 13 is not a bad number.
Okay.
So I came out first in St. Martin and 13th in the island. And then I went to Convent High, and then I continued to place first in my forms and stuff. And then I graduated, but it didn't have graduation back then, eh? It didn't have graduation ceremony. Nowadays, even preschoolers graduating. So
yes, big ceremony for that. So tell us a little bit about Convent, though. At Convent, what was it like for you down at Convent?
As I said, Portia Edwards, she was an enormous influence in my life. I will never forget this lady as long as I live. And I think as a result of that, I respect teachers even more. And teachers hold a special place in my heart, and they do so much for children. They are sometimes under-regarded, but the value of a teacher, especially a teacher that cares. There are teachers that can be the opposite. I had a teacher like that. I can't call her name, but she was not a nice one. So there are teachers that can uplift you, and there are teachers that can degrade you. But a teacher has such a big influence in your life, because sometimes you don't know what's happening at the home. You don't know what the child is facing, and it might be abuse of physical, sexual, any kinds of, and for you to come to the school and meet somebody that embraces you and guides you and encourages you. I think God has a special place in heaven for teachers. And then, when I finished, I think 2 days after I sat CXC, I did 10 of them. I passed all 10. And then I went to Minnesota to join my bigger sister that was there for a year before me, and I went to college in Minnesota.
Okay, let's just go back to Convent High School. Were you involved in sports or any?
I was involved in I was in dodgeball. I was in the arts and theater. Amma Harris was our teacher. She was very good. So we did productions at Arawak House of Culture and stuff like that. And Rose Keynes was another teacher and Josephine Dublin. All these were my teachers. That was also very good, very patient. Sister Gabriela, I think. So there were some that were really remarkable. They were very bright and helpful to us. So from there, I went to Minnesota to college.
Before you go there, just now again, in terms of the uniform at the Convent High School then, is the same?
Yes, it's the same. It's the blue skirt.
Okay.
And funny enough, in fifth form, the student that was on my left side became a school principal. You all didn't call her name today, but Alicia Abraham.
Yes.
I think she was the first female principal for grammar school, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was a good year for us.
Yes.
So that was, and guess who was on my right side? Or was it my right side was Alicia Abraham, and my left side was Bertilia Mackenzie. So she ended up being the principal of grammar school. Bertilia was the manager of Domlek, and I was the manager of Sagicor.
Yes.
So
and also taught at grammar school as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we ended up being technically 3 managers on that same row, because we were also the smallest children there and the shortest.
Were you involved in debates on things like that?
I was involved in debates. I was involved in theater. What else I did in convent? In dodgeball.
Okay.
And what else? I'm trying to think. I can't.
Any of the. I mean, I'm not. Well, convent has probably what about like netball or running?
No, I never liked netball.
You never like netball?
No. I still think that netball should be converted to basketball, because there'll be a lot more sports scholarship for the youth in Dominica. Basketball, you get a lot more scholarships. How are you going to get a scholarship to go and play netball? Where are you going to play netball? Australia? So we have to look at those things. Anyway, that's another topic.
That's another topic by itself. But Cheryl, one of the things is I'm trying to find out, because we know Cheryl today in terms of Cheryl being outspoken and having a voice and sharing, what she believes and everything else. Back then, when you were in the Kalinago territory, or whether it was in St. Martin or whether it was in convent, did you begin to find your voice then? Were you one of those that was speaking up, or were you just the quiet girl sitting in the background?
I was never the quiet one sitting in the background. And remember, I was coming out first in all those schools, so I was trying to prove a point based on the abuse and the bullying. That was my weapon. My weapon of mass destruction was to come out first.
So you were a very popular girl back then? In
I don't know if I was popular. My name used to call every term because I got prizes. And I had friends that still remain my friends up to today. So
You must have
cannot judge
experienced
yourself, you know.
You must have experienced the other side of people who probably begin to get jealous of Cheryl, or beginning not to like Cheryl because she always first.
I guess, well, they could always work harder and come out first, you know. But I don't know, it's just, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's genetics, maybe it's just ingrained in me, because when I joined the insurance field, I did the same. So I beat all the OECS islands and Barbados. So maybe it's just in me, I don't know.
Has it always been because of you know, like you mentioned, the bullying and everything else, and your escape was in education and trying to prove that you can do this better than others?
That too, and the fact that our mom taught us, you know, the sky is the limit, you know, and that you can be better at anything that you do. To me, my mom was nothing was impossible for her. I remember when my husband at the time had to go and study in Edinburgh in Scotland. I ended up there too, you know. And when I told her, I said, I have to go to Scotland because I don't want to be by myself with the children. And I said, it's so far. And my mother just watched me and said, you're too foolish. It's just a plane ride away. So she always made us feel that, you know, nothing is impossible. She was not very, I don't even think I ever saw my mom cry. I guess she had to be strong for us, you know.
Right.
So she always made us. So I'm the one being emotional about going to Edinburgh in Scotland, and she's like, "You can handle it." And normally it's the other way around, where your mom cries, because I cry for my children all the time, which is the other extreme.
Yes. So you then moved on, of course, out of Dominica to pursue studies, further your studies, and so on.
And I was president of the Black Student Organization, but there were only 31 blacks in my school, so I don't know. It wasn't much of an association. But it was, you know, one of the things that, you know, and my son, it happened to my son as well. One time my son called me and he's like, Mom, what race am I? Because he's in America, right? I'm like, what you mean? He said, because I have to tick a race. Remember, in Dominica, we don't have that form where you have to do Hispanic.
Right.
But item is just put Carib. Just put Kalinago, West Indian.
Yes, right.
And that's that.
KWI.
Item, let the computer try and figure it out. So when you reach up there, you know, that is when you start facing another type of this. But I myself know, I made friends with everybody. So I remember one of my friends from Mississippi getting upset at me because I went to have chips and a Coke with a white friend, and she's like, you're going to be with them and you're not with us. And she had an issue, and I'm like, to me, you know, we entertain people all from all colors in Dominica, white, black, whoever come in our foot, we just entertain. So I didn't see anything wrong with it, but she started to tell me that her mother used to have to sit at the back of the bus in Mississippi and blah, blah, blah. So that's when I tried to understand her. So what I used to do is spend some time with her, spend some time with the whites, you know, and try, because I didn't have an issue, but she had an issue, you know, because of her experience. And then from there, I had my 3 children, and I came back to Dominica in 1984. My first job here was a sales manager of Carib Spring Water, and that is why when you offered me the water today, Ivona, I couldn't take it. Now you understand. And yes. So I was the sales manager for Carib Spring Water. I worked in Lubia, but my children were small at the time. I used to fly to Trinidad, Tobago, Antigua. We shipped containers of spring water. I used to go to every supermarket and every mini mart in all those islands to make sure that our water is at eye level. And I pushed our sales, right? And then, but because my children were small, my daughter was like 2, it became difficult to be flying here, there, and everywhere with those small children. So I ended up starting work with an insurance company, and I've been there ever since. So it's 40 years since I'm in the insurance industry.
40 years?
40 years.
Wow.
Yes. Since I was in my cradle.
When you look back, tell us about your greatest achievement. What really, you know, stays with you from when you started to where you are now?
I think as far as work.
You asking?
You asked me as far as work?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, it's your story. So what really was the biggest they highlight for you during that tenure?
Well, I think to put Dominica more on the map, because when I joined, we were not nowhere there, and now we are high up on the map. to host 4 congresses. I don't think any other person in any of the islands have done that. My last congress, I brought on 265 people for a week. There's nothing in it for you except hard work because it's a non-profit organization. So it's just my time, my energy. But to be able to sell Dominica was very challenging because, of course, I faced a lot of pushback. We remember all the islands want it because it's good for the economy. Ivona, you're talking about over $1 million that we paid out to vendors, from hotels to tour operators and stuff. Every time we do it, we give the figures to the Ministry of Tourism. We are in the process of collating it, and we will be giving it to the Ministry of Tourism so they can see the value of conference tourism, which I think that's where we should be going. Conference tourism, let us bring people in large groups and let them stay for a week at least and enjoy the things at night and most of the things in the day. And that's my other passion. So so I think that's one of my greatest, to me, to bring people down to Dominica and to generate income and to sensitize them about Dominica. And as a result of that, we have had repeat people come. So many people that have come have been to Dominica more than once. And you also develop friendships, Caribbean-wide. So if I pick up my phone now, I can call my friends in Trinidad and fly down by them now. When my mom was ill, they were there for me and vice versa. So when the hurricane struck in Dominica, they sent down, between Sajiko and my co-workers, 3 yachts came in to bring things, and we give to not just ourselves but to other people. Medications came down, so you develop friendship and you network, and there's nothing wrong with that. Remember, as I keep telling people, there was a man who walked the earth who could raise the dead and heal the sick, and he had 12 disciples. You ever wonder why if you, Ivona, could raise the dead, or Nigel, would you have 12 people helping you? You might think you're big enough. So I always am a believer in people being around me. I'm a people person. I told people I don't really do anything by myself except maybe go and shower. I like people.
I want to, by the way, the book is saying they can no longer see your eyes. So all you're saying, Cheryl.
No, at times I fade, anyway. So
Sorry.
we're back on Nigel.
Yes, we have to explain that to them too, but sometimes you know how that is.
So Nigel, sometimes when I listen to you, when I listen on a Saturday, because it's easy to listen to you and Ivona on a Saturday because you put your television on or your radio and you do your chores so you can hear. But it is very refreshing when you are connecting the dots with the Caribbean and the Dominicans overseas, because home will always be home. Dominica might not be liquid rich, but we're asset rich. Each of us have a mother, sister, auntie, or nenen that gave us a little piece of land, or we can go and rest our head. You don't know what the future holds. You don't know what wars are going to come. You don't know. So it is good to continue to help to develop. And when you look at Guyana, the GDP for Guyana was less than remittances sent down from Guyanese overseas. So in layman terms, what does that mean? It means that people sending money to their families in Guyana generated more income than the whole country's GDP back then before oil. So I'm saying, and that's why I don't believe in giving back. There's no such thing as giving back. It's giving forward. So how can you play your role and you're not a diaspora? That's another thing I want to change. I remember speaking at a conference in Jamaica, and I had to speak on that, and I changed the name. Nigel, don't ever call yourself a diaspora. Why would you leave Dominica and go overseas and call yourself a diaspora? You have to call yourself live as richer.
Yes, I live as richer.
How are you going to be overseas and call yourself diaspora?
Let me shout to the live as riches.
You can't be diaspora. That's negative. It's live as richer. So all the live as riches that are overseas, how can you play your part in developing your country? And you have to teach your children, even if they're not from here, they can inherit a piece of land. I would advise they don't just sell it on the first go, but keep it so you can develop it. And teach your children to give forward. Because my children give, I have a son that gives to Academy every month for the past 5 years.
Wow.
From his salary.
That's good.
Every month for the past 5 years.
He gives that to SMA.
He gives forward money to SMA.
Tell your son we have to connect with him because we're looking to rebuild the roof.
Okay.
The Brother Egbert Jimmy Wing roof. almost gone.
Liam Rolle.
And we have some old boys there, that's
No,
putting
but
together.
coming back to building roof and stuff,
We'll
that's
figure that
another
out.
thing.
Yes.
No, Nigel, start a conversation with your children. That's one of my things I want to bring to the fore. Start a conversation with your children. So Nigel, you are overseas. Your mother was down here. She passed away. God bless her soul. Did she ever have a conversation with you about the property? Is it insured? Things like that. Start a conversation with your children. My children know all my business. They know all my business because I try my best, based on my experience again, of people not knowing anything. They know that I tell them if I get old, if I get senile, if I get Alzheimer's, you need to know. So if the property is not insured, start a conversation with your children. I have my property there. It's worth $500,000. The insurance is $5,000. I don't have the money. 4 children, one in Houston, one in New York. Put $100 US every month towards a fund and pay for it. Start a conversation with your children, because you don't want to come when your roof is gone and like you, Brother German section, that property should be insured. You have how many SMA graduates? If you start an insurance fund and it's $2,000, reach out to the graduates and the alumni. Those are things that you can put into place. Start a conversation. I love
that. Alvin Thomas, we shall connect with Cheryl on the insurance side. Cheryl, in terms of the journey and the story, though, you mentioned insurance and you've been there for like 40 years now.
November 1st was 40 years.
40 years.
November 3rd was my award. November 12th was my birthday.
What is it that got you into insurance, and why have you stayed that long?
Well, if I tell you the story.
And give us the story how it started. It was easy for you to go and sell insurance, because at that time...
No, if I tell you the story. When I was working at Carib Spring, my husband at the time was unemployed. So I spoke to Mr. Tong about a job opportunity. So Mr. Tong brought him into the office and gave him the interview and told him what he has to do and stuff. And when he came home, he told me, I myself didn't even know those words back then because I was 20 something. Oh, he doesn't want to work in there. He doesn't want to sell intangibles. So I'm like, okay. He doesn't want to sell intangibles. Well, let me go and find out what the intangible is. So I went to Mr. Tong, because remember I said that I was with Carib Spring, but I was traveling a lot. And I did the job application and I started working with him. And that's how I started. When I first joined, the first person I called for insurance, they told me they insured with Mr. Tong. So I went to Mr. Tong almost in tears and I said, Mr. Tong, everybody I'm talking to, they say they insured with you. He told me, ask them some more details. Sometimes they will say that and it's not true. Sometimes they will say that and they have been insured and they had $2 worth of insurance. They need to increase it. And then I realized that a lot of, based on my history and the fact that my father, whose cousin worked in the insurance industry, was not insured, but yet he was entertaining everybody he could find. So I think a lot of it has to do with financial education. And that is why I sent a document to the Minister of Education, Mrs. Alfred, showing her that Belize have now started in their curriculum financial planning. And so I would like that to be something that is taken up by the Ministry of Education to teach financial planning. Even basic things like your child comes home with a brand new Nike and 2 gold chains around his neck. You're not questioning him? You get where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
That same child wants a pair of Nike from you, but you have to sit down and show him your budget. I remember my son was 9 years old, and I took him out from convent prep and put him into a school back then that it was higher. And he spent one day at the school and asked me, he came back and says he's not going to that school because it's costing too much. And how much is our mortgage? He knows that we have a mortgage.
And he was 9.
9. That's why he came out first in the island in CXC. So he was 9 at the time and he says, Mom, we have a mortgage to pay. And he just moved back to convent prep. So, but it all goes with a conversation. Start a conversation. Tell your children the truth. Tell them the truth. Tell them, I cannot buy you box drink because box drink is $3 for one when I can buy 2 lime and squeeze it and you can have 2 bottles of juice for the next 2 days. You get me? So I'm saying try and use as much local as possible. Try and keep the money here as much as possible and start a conversation with the children. I have never given my children box drink up to this day, you know.
Lime squash,
passion fruit, whatever is in season, you can freeze it. You can buy it and you can freeze it, you know.
Yeah,
Dashing and fig, my children, is that they're accustomed to eat local. Dashing and fig and those things.
The support of Signal Band right there.
I know we want to stay a lot on the insurance.
That's my band.
Anytime you have Cheryl Rolle, you have to talk a lot about insurance. But Nigel, there's a place I really want to go because Cheryl is very much passionate about these young people and helping them, especially those involved in sports.
Yes.
And I really, really want to go there so we can spend a little time on this.
So,
but if there's anything you'd want to say before we move on to the next phase, that's okay. Cheryl.
No, I just want to say again, in the insurance industry, it's a lot of protection that we offer in the insurance industry, and you have a team with you. And so my team at my office, nobody calls me boss. They're not allowed to call me boss. I told them their boss is Jesus. I am just their team leader. So we all operate as a team, and they're very, 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 very supportive. So I have to give them extreme kudos.
I can see the unity at your place. I can just see it.
Because we are a team, and we have to operate in the interest of the client. Remember, the clients are buying something they're not seeing. So a man told me the other day, Mr. Rolle, how I know you're going to pay out my wife and you die? I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll bury you for cell phone, I'll charge it. And then when I pay the check, I'll take a picture and I'll WhatsApp it to you. Then another one tell me, so long I pay in insurance and I don't get anything. I say, well, why don't you get sick or die? Oh, you can wish bad on me. I say, well, decide what you want. When you go to pay for your car insurance, do you make noise it didn't crash, or you just keep paying, Ivona? Have you ever said that you pay and you never get paid back for your car you're paying for your insurance? No. Some of us will get sick, some of us will die, some of us will get old. I don't know. We lost 2 prime ministers. You get me? So I'm not going to say anything, so you read between the lines. But I'm just saying, you just never know. So
but you'll understand that, especially like for me back in the days, it wasn't easy for me to, buy into this thing,
But you insured your car.
Yeah, but it wasn't easy.
Why you insured your car fully comprehensive? Why you insured it? Why did you insure your car fully comprehensive?
Because I had to at the time.
No, you had to do third party.
I'm telling you the truth at the time.
No,
but now,
party.
obviously, I understand. I understand more about insurance. Yeah. But I'm talking about when I was very young back in the day, it wasn't easy.
Because we were not taught financial planning at school. And that is why I want it taught in the school so that the children can see. They can actually take it home and do a project on it. Do their SBAs on it. Daddy, how much you making? Mommy, how much you making? Auntie, how much you making? How much you getting from your sister in America? Because there's a lot of single households that families overseas support, And I have to give kudos to the Dominicans overseas. Let me tell you something, Ivona. Everybody I know gets barrels. I'm the only one that never got a barrel. So one day I went away and I put 2 barrels on myself. But everybody I know gets barrels. And for you to get barrel, people have to get up 5 o'clock, go in the snow, take 2 trains, go to work, come back, buy their liquor things, put it in the barrel, go and ship it, pay to ship it. People don't understand. They're just receiving the barrels and they don't understand what the Dominicans are struggling overseas.
At times it takes a length of time to fill the barrel.
Yes, and our Dominicans overseas are loving and kind and giving. They want school bag overseas. They want this overseas. They don't have to do it, but they do it. But we have to be grateful and thankful.
Okay, Nigel. So thanks for the barrel. Thanks.
Yes. I just preparing another one for you then. Taking a little time to put all the things in it. But
you see?
You'll get it. You see? You'll get it. So yeah, Cheryl, one of the other areas that I know that you've deeply involved in sports.
Yeah.
In terms of sponsorship, the Surgical Southeast thing, and then your individual people that you've worked with. What got you involved in that?
Well, I don't know. No? I got, well, again, remember I said children just ended by me. So, and our football team, years, it's more than 20 years we sponsor any football team. So I just like to see children grow and become, a better person. And with all what is going on there, the mental illness, the drug addiction and stuff like that, this is an alternative to that. And we cannot have our young men being not involved in sports and being involved in other devious behavior. I've never seen a drug lord age. They always die before time. I have never seen a lot of people on bikes, young men on bikes with a big spliff in their mouth as a status symbol, no helmets. Almost every weekend we lose a young man. We are losing more young men on bike accidents than any other thing. And so I think sports is an excellent avenue. And if you look at people that participate in sports, they tend to be more disciplined because they have to listen to their coach and stuff. So what I try to encourage as well, and I'm reaching out to the teachers, their grades have to be on par too, because a lot of time when I try to get scholarships they ask for their transcripts, and if their transcripts are not very good, then they lose the opportunity. So somewhere along the way, somebody must have brought somebody to me, and that was the start. So between the football, I tried to push. I tried to attend every game. The other day I went. My team lost 4 games in a row. I was out of state, back and forth. So I went to the last 3 games, and they won all 3. So I tell them, I'm there with you all in spirit, but you have to step up. I think one of the things the Football Association needs to look at as well is to give the young people hope. I don't want a situation where you're playing football from 17 to 20 or 16 to 20, you get injured, you don't have an exit certificate. Where do you go to after that? So we need to start looking at football scholarships. Brazil has 3 million children at sports academies. No, we cannot have 3 million, but at least the ones that we have, let us try to identify and try to place them in schools. And the same thing for track. We have enough hills and mountains. I remember Danielson.
Maute?
Maute, he was here just 2 weeks ago, who got a silver award in the Commonwealth Games. I was with him, and I was trembling like a leaf. I didn't know if he's to call his father or if he's to call Coach Emmanuel Loblack, because this child crossed the line with a silver medal, and for half an hour I couldn't find him because I had a big Dominica flag for him to run around the track, and I just couldn't find him. And after he came out, he told me, Auntie, they pulled me aside and they drug tested me, but all they'll find is dashing and fig you giving me. So he came from nowhere, and as a result of that, we met a coach, and I spoke to the coach, and he got a scholarship, and he graduated from the University of South Florida in Tampa, and now he has a degree in finance, and he works for Mid-Florida Financial Services. He came down for my award. So, and then Denick is studying in Jamaica. So then somebody else brought, I think Miss Hetlin, she brought Wyke. She brought Denick to my office, and I called Danielson, and Danielson got his former coach in Jamaica, and we got Denick to go up to Jamaica to go to school and to do training. And then I'm assisting Corel Etienne as well. That's the little one from Point Carib, Point Carib, by Granby. What's it called, Ivona? Point Carib. And so she is one we have to watch her. She has enormous potential. She's 16. They have already nicknamed her. If you Google her, you'll see they call her Twinkle Toes in Jamaica. Wow. So that is one we have to watch. She's 16. She qualified for the Pan American Games, but she had a slight injury. So Billy Doctrove and Brendan Williams and Tanya and the rest of the crew at Olympics and also the association, they have also revitalized and re-encouraged the athletes, but we ourselves in the local community need to play our part. I think it's important that we continue to give them support. They have to pay to get their CXC exams. Where are they going to get the money from?
And you do all that.
Yeah. So how do we assist them? Yeah. In a lot of different things. But
Cheryl, I want to go back to though Danielson, Mahote, and Denick Luke in particular. There's a strong bond that you share with these two in particular. What led to that? Danielson calls you auntie, you said.
Yeah. Well, everybody calls me auntie. Danielson's mom died when she was having his sister. Oh. And so I got him at around 10. I remember I was living in Czech Hall, and that child, when people are determination, boy, it's a marvel to watch them. And he used to run from do you know that between one electrical post and the next is 80 meters? I didn't even know that. So he used to run from one electrical post to the next, and I used to have to time him, and he would run up that hill. So, it's something that, ambition is not something you can teach somebody. Yeah? My mother always said so. It has to come from inside. It has to come from within. And that is why I said it's not where you're from, it's where you're planning to go. Because if you have the ambition, you will achieve. And so his training continued, and I was his mother figure. And it just happened that we met a coach, and he was underage at the time. So the coach had to do the interview with me, a U.S. coach. And it's such a small world there. When I went to the Olympics, remember, it's 90,000 people in the stadium. And I'm walking out after a game, and I'm hearing, hey, Cheryl. When I looked at the man, he's like, Coach Jenkins, the exact coach that had thing. Out of the 90,000 people in the stadium, what are the odds? It's God's will anyway. So I met Coach Jenkins, and of course, I found Denick, and I brought him to him. And so Denick and him had an interview. But Denick wants to remain at Mona. He's starting school in January. He's just moved from GC Foster to Mona, where he will be in training because he wants to train in the Racers Track Club, which is Usain Bolt's track club. And he says that over there is a lot more competition compared to, let's say, if you go to a university overseas where you might have 3 800-meter runners. In Jamaica, you might have 20. So that is a decision that they have to make. At the end of the day, it's they that have to go to school and make it. Mm-hmm. So that is how. And then Denick, he also had a challenge parenting. I won't go into details. So I ended up with him as well.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Nigel. And Nigel, you know the story. How much involved Cheryl is, in the lives of this.
Yes.
But everybody that comes around me, they have to get their education. I had another one at my house, Cheyenne. He's now at university. He's not an athlete, but he's at university in Trinidad. And then I have another one, Kevin. He's going in December to become a pilot in Canada, Kevin Boyd. And he competed in cycling in Birmingham for Dominica. So that's another one that's leaving me. But I just want to elevate them, and as much as I love them and I want them around me, I want them to grow and to go and fly.
Wow, that's a good mother figure. And a lot of times, Cheryl, you pay your passage and you go to support them.
Yes, well, I don't have a choice. I have to go and give them, The night before that Denick scored broke the national record, I went and I got fig and pumpkin and I cooked a stew and I took him out from the Olympic Village and he came to where we were staying. So somebody texted me, where you getting fig in Paris, Cheryl? I said, don't worry, I found it. I found green fig. So I cooked that. I said, you see the green fig that make you break the record? So after the games now, you have to be careful that you don't pressure them. So I was like, how do you feel, Denick? Is this it for you? He said, Auntie, I just take taste. No, Los Angeles for me. I said, okay, well, I will support you. But you have to, it's their decision because it takes a lot. It's a lot of sacrifice, Nigel. Those children those young adults, they cannot party, they cannot drink, they cannot do a lot of things that the normal people their age can do. Imagine Danielson came down for the Creole Festival and stuff. That was his first Creole Festival experience because he could not participate. When you are in training, you cannot do. It's a lot of sacrifice, Danielson they get up at 5 in the morning. They train from 5 sometimes to 8. And then in the afternoons from 4 to 7. And the only off they have is a Sunday, So they train on average 7 hours a day. 6 days a week. That is 42 hours of training. Wow. That is why when you see people see sports people accomplish, no matter what country they're from, you have to give them enough respect because I don't know which one of us would have that discipline to do that. It's a lot.
As you mentioned, Cheryl, you were there when Theo, of course, got that gold medal. Mm-hmm. You were part of that experience.
Well, trembling.
Just
take us back to
that. Just general. How you felt? How was it?
What happened is that we got tickets to go. I paid for tickets to go in, right? But the price of those things is between 100 and something euros and 1,000. So I myself, my sister was with me as well. So where they got me, this seat was like 57. My head could touch the ceiling of the stadium. That's how far away I was from where she was. So when I see her start to run, I came down and said, but they have a lot of security. So I start to beg, right? And I speak French fluently. So I said, je suis dans la Dominique, on est un petit pays et je suis la seule personne qui est là pour elle parce que les autres sont les gens qui travaillent avec elle et je veux, s'il te plaît, si tu pouvais m'amener là. And he said, okay. And I kept begging and they kept bringing me down closer to the thing. So when I reached 2 seats away from Taya running, God make me sit down next to a gentleman. He was a sports reporter from Belgium, but he is from Africa. Mm-hmm. So he started to tell me, she's going to win. I said, but how you know? He's like, when she did the 15 meters, he said, 15 meters, it's an accomplishment. She will medal. I'm not sure which one, but she will medal. So then rain started to fall. Well, I started to call for rain. I said, Lord Jesus, send all the rain from Dominica. Rain, because when it when it rains, they had a machine that was picking up the water, but the machine can't pick up every piece of water. And I was scared for the rickets lady from Jamaica with some long legs. I said, wee bones, yeah. When I saw her, I was like, that's the one we have to watch. So when rain started to fall, they drying up the thing, but rain started to fall. I said, that rain coming straight from Dominica. So then there was a seat empty, so I climbed on top of this seat with the flag. So when the others jumped, they didn't jump her thing. When it came for her turn to jump, because she was last in the competition when she was competing. So she said she's not going to jump because she had already broken the record, the timing. So she was ahead of everybody. Boy, that's when we started to jump up. So I reached there by default, And I left my sister all the way at the top because I couldn't beg for two of us.
So she stayed on 57th row and you were right down.
I was right down, boy. But then the worst part was when I found out that the flag and the medal is the next day. When I started to look for tickets, the starting ticket was between 400 and 500 euros just to get a ticket. But I said, not in that. I see her one, she medal already, and not in that. And then I started to say, boy, that's the first time I will hear our national anthem being sung and stuff like that. Boy, I close my eyes and I tell Brendan Williams, just book it before I change my mind. And so that's how I said, that's the most expensive national anthem I never ever sang. It was 100 euros per word. But it was worth it. It was a joy to hear the national anthem. And it was amazing? For St. Lucia, which I found strange, they sang one verse, and for Dominica they did two. I said, maybe it's because of all the money we spent to watch it, that's why. But it was quite a joy. It was a joy. It was worth it. It was worth
Cheryl,
it.
as we kind of wind down on our journey and our story, I know there's so much more we could talk about.
Yeah.
What is it about Dominica that you just feel so passionate that you have to keep promoting, you have to keep being positive about this beautiful land?
Yeah, so one of the things I want to caution our listeners, and not everybody's listening to our program, of course, so those that are listening, you have children, try to encourage them to look at the positive aspects of Dominica and to uplift the country, because posting negative things about the country does not help the country. The Prime Minister is Mr. Skerritt right now. Tomorrow it might be Mr. X or Mrs. X. So it's not about him, it's about the country. And so we have to uplift the country as much as possible, because when you post negative things, it travels. And so what good does it do for the country? It's a beautiful island, mountains, rivers. Very few countries have rivers. Okay, so that's a blessing. And if you had to go to heaven, or if you had to go to Eden, how would you picture the Garden of Eden to be? It has to be a little part by Trois Pitons up there in the mountains. I mean, really, with no houses, no concrete jungle. It has to be something like that, I would think. I can't believe that heaven have all that concrete. So we have a piece of heaven, and let us all play our part. There's an international airport coming. I always told Colin Piper, each person bring one person at Creole Festival. If each Dominican, let's say 20,000 Dominicans brought one person, that's 20,000 people. So let us try to uplift our country. It doesn't hurt us, it helps us. And other people are coming and enjoying the island, so why can't we enjoy it? There might not be adequate jobs and stuff for our youth. Let them go overseas. Let them search for jobs. I have no problem with that. But the children that have gone to study and gone overseas, they have a moral responsibility to give forward to their country. You have people from America, Barbados, all over the world, going all over the world to study. So we're not the first people, and we have people from all over the world working in all different countries. So I have no issue if I hear Ivona going to work in Saudi Arabia. However, Ivona must remember that Dominica, she needs to promote and assist Dominica, and there are so many beautiful ways to assist. Look at university, for example. We can start a university fund, and so therefore we can send 10 children. If you look at all the alumni from all the schools that are working overseas, we can send 10 children to university. Wouldn't that be a joy? That's the way I look at it.
Wow. Nigel, what a story. I would just stay on, and listen to Cheryl. But Cheryl, as we are winding down though, take us back to the 3rd of November 2024 at the Windsor Park Stadium.
Well, Ivona, I don't like to talk about myself. So when they asked me to do a bio, I told Brenton, who everybody thinks is my child, by the way.
Yeah.
Asked Brenton to do it, and it's difficult for you to hear them talking about you, so my head was down, so forgive me, people, if if you saw my head down, but I couldn't really listen to them talk about me. And I looked around at the other people around me, and it's well deserved when you look at Nigel, Mrs. Datush, Dr. Ferrara, Dr. Dublin. I mean, you, Jennifer Astafan, Billy Doctor. You look at these people, and they have all contributed, you know, and it's just such a joy to see them and to be recognized. I must have a long list of people I'd like to send. So at some point, we all have to play our part. We all have to play our part. And I don't think any of us, Nigel, I can speak for you, I would think that you didn't expect to get an award, right? No.
You've just been doing it for love of country.
You're just doing it. You're just doing it. And so we just want to continue to, and sometimes we have unsung heroes, you know, we have a lot of unsung heroes. So the Lord is watching and He knows. So you might not be recognized, but we recognize you, especially teachers. I have one thing before I leave, Ivona. I have a serious issue with littering in Dominica. On Community Day of Service, I picked up 9, me and I had some athletes and my home people. We picked up 9 bags of garbage. 9 bags of garbage by the Glow Show by Layo, by the road, by the bridge. That is nasty. That is what I call nasty business. So, and it's not children that are doing that. Please, my Dominican people, let us have, you know, in Singapore, you cannot drop a piece of garbage. We need to have some very draconian laws that will block people from littering, because it is just a mess. Do you know what the new national flower is? Ivona?
Tell me.
A red and white box that I see on the side of the road. You know what fast food I'm talking about?
A red and white box. Okay.
There's a fast food that has a red and white box. That's the new national flower. I am not happy with that. You know what I'm talking about, right, Ivona?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So I'm saying that we need to make from the children up conscious of littering. You cannot have the nature aisle and the nasty aisle at the same time. I remember picking up garbage outside by my office, and a man is telling me, I tried to take the food from somebody's mouth because they have people that pick up garbage. I said, that is inappropriate. You cannot continue to litter like that. They drink a glass, they pitch it in the gutter, they have a bottle, they pitch it everywhere. It's just nasty.
Cheryl, as we end though, when you look back from your childhood days, little girl, to where you are now and all what you have achieved, because you still have a lot more to do, I know that. But what comes to mind when you picture Cheryl Rolle as she is now? What do you see?
Well, there's a little grandchild called Catalia that everybody says she's exactly like me, so I'm seeing a lot of me in her. I teach my children two words my children were never allowed to use in my house is hate and bored. So I try to teach them to love everybody no matter what. So I don't have any enemies that I know of. And if you don't know you have enemies, then you don't have. And I teach my children and the people around me to continue to assist and be the best person that they can be, and to continue to help and grow. And I'm seeing it, Ivona. I see it in Denick. Denick has helped other athletes. Dennison has helped others. Desta and my children are helping. Kay and them are helping. So I'm seeing it. I am seeing it. I have 2 Haitian children. One is studying in China. One is in Canada. Sanchez and Stevenson. They were valedictorians. Their parents work hard. They are now studying computer science, and one is studying architecture. And I had a situation where one booked a room for another student that I'm sending up. So I called him and I asked him how much. You know what the child told me? Auntie, I took care of it. Tears came to my eyes. A little Haitian helping out a Dominican student to place him in a place for when he lands in Canada, for him to have a place. And you know what came to my mind? Children live what they learn. So I just want to thank my children. Already gave me my birthday gift a few years ago. They sent me to Ghana, which is where I always wanted to go. And when I left Ghana, when I went to the slave dungeon where they had the slaves, when I saw where a black man had to pass and survive, I said, there's nothing stopping the black man. He's going to survive. And I left there with an attitude of gratitude. And that is what I want to carry with me, an attitude of gratitude in all that I do. Because after I saw what I saw, anybody that can go to Ghana should go. Because you would be surprised at how that will strengthen you as a person. as a black person.
Cheryl,
This is deep.
Thank you for sharing that journey. Thank you for sharing your story. Congratulations again on your award. From the Kalinago territory to where you are, it's been a wonderful journey. And as you said, looking forward, there's so much more. So continue to inspire others. You may not know it, but I'm pretty sure you are doing that. So continue to do that, continue on that trend. We appreciate you, appreciate all that you've done for us as well. Thank you for connecting.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, and much love to all my Dominicans, both here and overseas. And I know you all play your part in building the country, so let's just continue to do that and sensitize our children on keeping Dominica clean.
It was
you think we can ensure connecting the dots now?
Say it again, Nigel.
Ask if you think we can ensure connecting the dots.
You can show the building.
But
Ivona, I'm not seeing. Is there a wall where I'm seeing Shumaine Green and Felix Henderson and Kurt Matthew? Is there
so after the program, I'll give you a tour. I'll give you a tour after the program.
Okay.
Yes, I will.
I would like to see that.
But yes, it was really a pleasure connecting with you, Cheryl. I really enjoyed the program. Let me say thanks as well to all who are on the live on Nigel. So many people, so many questions, so many comments.
Yes.
Etienne is on again. Glenda Shillingford is on. Brenton Hilaire is on. So many people.
Thanks to my team, and both here and abroad.
It's really a pleasure, Cheryl. I wish you all the best.
Yeah, and thanks for my team. Thanks to Sajiko, because every time I call Sajiko, it's a sorry story I have to give them, and they always help me with my football team, with Congress and stuff like that.
All right.
Okay. You think they can help us with connecting the dots?
I'll see. Let's hear.
Nigel, I like your job, man.
That's it. All right, we'll talk.
Okay, bye.
All right, take care.
Hey, I would as always appreciate it. We'll link up again next week.
Yes, we'll link up again next week. All the best to you, Nigel.
All right, take care, my dear.
Okay.
Thank you.
At first sight, I met a girl this morning, and she was beauty to my eyes. I asked her where she from, she tell me in the tropics. She asked me what's my name, I tell her I am Connie.
Major Mystic.
She tell me that her name is Jamaica, and I said smile.